Hello everyone, how you doing? And welcome back to Skye and Evan in the morning. And today we're gonna be talking about Superman, the newly released James Gunn movie starting the DCU. Um, so
Yet
yeah,
another movie titled Superman with no subtitle. It's we're getting a lot of that, like Halloween, the sequel titled Halloween, and with the original John Williams OST as the theme, which was
yeah,
an interesting choice. So yeah,
yeah.
you.
Sorry, you go.
Well, I was just gonna say, like, I watched it earlier this week, so it's like, what you pretty much just watched it. What do you
Yeah,
think?
like an hour and a half ago was when the movie ended for me. So yeah, I really liked it. Did not for sure think it was perfect. No whatsoever. But I really liked it, and it's just such a comfy movie. It's just like so full of heart and hope, and it's just like exactly what I wanted a Superman movie to be. And I cried 3 times, so James Gunn still got it. So yeah,
Um, I agree honestly because I definitely have issues with tone, but overall I do think what this movie nails is having an energy to Superman where he feels like a protector, like a comforter. Like there, people always say they want to feel hope. Like a common criticism with like Zack Snyder's Superman is he doesn't feel that way.
yeah,
What I've always laughed at with Superman as a character and like, on-screen Superman adaptations, I think that Captain America has more of a Superman energy to him than in a lot of like the actual Superman movies.
uh
Like
huh,
one of my favorite moments with him is when he shows up in the train station in Infinity War. Like that's a moment where it's like there's two super powerful heroes that are being like ganged up on by like the bad guys, and weaker, technically weaker, like more human characters show up, but it's like just Captain America being there, him showing up, there's just this sense of hope and optimism that like all of a sudden happens. And David Corenswet, like he definitely has that in this movie. He brings that hopeful, optimistic, just innocent hero for truth, justice, and the American way to this
yeah.
role. And I really like him. I his performance, I do not think is a problem. I think he's very well cast as Superman.
Yeah, I love the way like the way he's characterized is just like wanting to be like a good person and like trusting everyone. It's kind of I find it hilarious when Lois is like, why does he trust everyone? But fucking Green Lantern is like, oh yeah, so he's Clark Kent, right? It's like, it's fucking great because I'm like, yeah, he's this very trusting, very nice guy from Kansas, from Smallville. It's uh it's just heartwarming to see that version of Superman. I really like it. And I mean, yeah, David Corenswet sells it really well. And well, it's weird. They use that as a vehicle to tell like a very political story that feels very current to like, current
Yeah,
day
I
Israel Palestine conflicts. So yeah.
the one like it could not be more direct and blatant if like they clearly were making the effort to connect it. It's fictional countries, but it's like
Yeah.
you know, if it looks like a duck and quacks like a duck, it's like this is Palestine and Israel
Yeah.
straight up.
But it's
And
interesting. Boravia was actually in the in Creature Commandos. There was a whole
ah,
thing. Yeah. Um.
I I'm sure they'll have more to say about this in the ending. And by the way, spoilers. I'm guessing are we're good.
Oh yeah.
Okay,
Very
spoilers
clearly
warning.
spoilers. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, the ending. This is like this maybe can tie into other elements of theme, but that really bugged me how the third act happened with that happening with Israel invading Palestine and it's just like, oh my god, what's gonna happen? Like, what are we gonna do? Superman can't be into it's like, yeah, the Justice Gang are there. They stop it. It's like,
Yeah.
why
What's
did
the
you
issue?
show this way? Like just to add the tension. And then the bigger thing
Well, no, it's because
is it's like,
the Justice Gang didn't want to like get involved in politics. That was a whole thing. But it was
well,
like Superman that kind of inspired them.
yeah, but then they just say fuck it. Because that's the thing. the movie at the beginning, and I don't think that they handle this very well, but it's an idea that's like, it's inspired me for a story that I want to write. But there is a question of like someone that's super powerful. Watchmen delves into this as well, but it's like, if there's someone that can like just, storm into a country and just stop like wars, just destroy tanks, literally take the dictator out to the desert and put him against the fucking cactus. It's like, regardless, like someone that can do that, they can just like fly into a country and stop a war from happening. Should they do that? Is that something that like would cause bigger problems, result in more international conflict? Like, what does it mean for them as a person? The beginning of the movie dabbles in that as an idea, and it's like, it's a complicated question. It's like, no, it's not. We should stop them. And then Hawk Girl, like, it hit me on my drive back because I was literally like thinking about her character. I'm like, can I think of any traits? Like, no. And then I'm like, she dropped like Netanyahu into his own country and like turned him into Stroganoff. I'm like, that's she assassinated him. Like, she literally like flew him and dropped, like, that would be like similar to like Putin or like dictators or like any people from the nations. Like, that shit's big. It's a really big deal. And then they're just like, yeah, whatever. It's fine. Yeah, we'll stop. We'll do that as superheroes. And they never explore that. Like, they just are like, yeah, it's fine. And I'm like, you were dabbling in this as a complex subject, but then when the movie ends, they're just like, no, it's fine to do that. I'm like,
I
that's
mean,
lazy. You could have done a lot more with it.
I don't know if I agree. Like, the movie's dabbling it in that, in the sense of like, there's like obviously geopolitical like aspects to all of it, but if someone could just walk in and stop Israel from bombing Palestine, that would be a good thing all around. Even though it would hurt like America and its relations to like the Middle East, and like, it would still be a good thing that I want to happen. It's why everyone was fighting for a ceasefire, regardless of
well, of course, like, I don't think anti-war is like a theme that people in general will find particularly contentious. Of like, people of course want to end wars, and it's like, they're complicated, but at the end of the day, people want them to stop. So it's like, for a movie to end saying it's fine to like stop people from like overrunning and killing other nations, of like, I get that. I just like you were saying that it's like, it's because like Green Lantern was inspired by Superman. I'm like, was that what happened? Because he just said he had like a code or something. He had like a vow, and then
well, yeah,
he's just
they
like,
made fun of that
Superman couldn't
vow.
make
Like,
it.
it was
It's like,
obviously
well, yeah, with this
the
haircut, it's like,
the what's
that haircut
fucking,
shouldn't be a vow. Which
it's not vow. What's the name?
oath?
Oath. Yeah, yeah.
I
Obviously,
forget.
the Green Lantern oath is a big thing for his character, and like he says, like Hawkgirl says, like, he uses that as like an excuse when he doesn't want to do something. It's just like, yeah, it just gets too complicated. And I thought like that made perfect sense with like a character like him. And I thought, it was like, yeah, but Superman, like showing them like always fighting for the
Well,
for to like try to save everyone and everything. I do understand. I do believe that he would have inspired them in that sense. Like, I mean, obviously Mr. Terrific has always been inspired by him. I think
well,
Green Lantern is
Mr. Terrific definitely gets the more screen time of the
he's the
Justice
best
Gang.
of the Justice Gang, yeah, for sure.
He has the most direct role in the story. I really think it could have worked with just him. Like, him being a lone wolf. I'm like, I know they want to set up the Justice League later on and have that move to somewhere else. So like, that's why they introduce more heroes in the story. But he was the one who had the most to do in the story. Green Lantern and Hawkgirl kind of got the shaft, unfortunately.
Yeah. And so I think it just, I think I just kind of understand like the way the movie's trying to be, of like, we have these characters who don't want to get involved because, in a way, they are answering for the American government, but like, just like taking matters into their own hand. I mean, it's the same thing that James Gunn always fucking does. Like he did it in Creature Commandos, he did it in Suicide Squad, of just like, yeah, you're fighting for the government, but then you realize they're actually a bunch of assholes, so you end up like liberating whoever.
Well,
Like,
not necessarily, because they do show like Flag Senior and like other people that are like dealing with Luther being like frictional against his plans, and there is I don't
yeah.
even know what that's going to mean for Green Lantern and Hawkgirl in the next movie. You know, you never know. Maybe they'll explore the consequences of that later down the
Oh, I
line,
definitely
because it's just like
expect
it's
them
the whole
to.
thing.
James Gunn has
It's the whole
established a lot of like political universe stuff with Creature Commandos and with this movie continuing it. So I'm like, yeah, I fully expect it to continue to be explored. I doubt it's going to be dropped.
Yeah, first thing that happens in dictatorships like that, if you assassinate the king, I'm like, they'll just fucking replace him with a new one, and like,
Well,
who knows
yeah,
what
in Creature
that'll
Commandos,
lead
they
to, and
killed
you know,
the Baravian queen or princess or whoever. I think she was a princess. Um, so
yeah,
yeah, it's like,
I
yeah,
beyond the fact that that's not really like delved into half as much as like the stuff that's going on in Metropolis, they really did make that whole conflict feel like an afterthought. Like I said, beyond just the idea that it's just like, well, Superman's stuck in Metropolis and he wants to be over there, but he has to stay with Mr. Terrific, and then they save the day instead. It's like, what's happening in Metropolis in the third act is unambiguously more important than that.
yeah.
Like he needs to be there, and it's just solved instantly by them, and then that's it. They just it almost could have been cut out, and so what should that have been the main drive of the story? It's like possibly, because you know it's tied into Luther's plan. It felt like those were two separate third act set pieces, and one just needed to finish for the sake of like connecting it to modern day politics rather than
I,
for it to be a developed part of the story,
I don't
because it just
really
kind of
agree. I
stops.
think it's
And
just like part of the world building, the background world building. Like they're trying to
don't you think it's
establish.
pretty fucking undercooked for that? Like I said, the best hope we have is that in the next movie they'll explore the fallout of that, and they'll like delve into more of what that means. I guess it's just, you know, initial setup for the new characters who themselves aren't that well developed in the movie. You know, they're just kind of teasers for what comes next, other than Mr. Terrific, who, because he has a direct role in the story.
Oh yeah, I mean, I don't, I don't know. I just don't see what the issue is. Kind of like the movie
Waste
is.
of time.
I don't think it's a
Was
waste of time because it's like I th- because it's like is a way for the as a vehicle for the plot. Like I don't think you can just have the plot without any of the Baravia stuff. Um,
Well, true. Maybe it could have been more in like the first act. Maybe there could have been like some small ceasefire based on what Superman did that like but the problem is Lex's entire plan is tied into that nation. So
yeah, and I think it makes sense as well for a character like him to do something like that.
well,
To
yeah, it
explore
is.
a nation, try to exploit a nation in terms of like
I
wanting to take it over for profit. Like, I mean, Trump has literally said he wants to do that to Palestine. So, yeah.
Well, I did. I laughed so hard at that. Of like, this is again a Lex Luthor who's obsessed with real estate. In every single one of these movies, he's always trying to like get fucking land, and I'm like, it's just so funny to me.
I
Um,
mean, he is a billionaire CEO.
yeah,
His character is not going to change that much. And I think, in terms of like characterizing him compared to like the comics, he seems pretty accurate in terms of like just his blatant hatred and envy of Superman. I thought that was done well.
it's definitely an interesting take on Lex Luthor. I actually think the Lex Luthor attempts from some of the different movies have been better than some of the Superman attempts. Because you know it's hard to top Christopher Reeve. He was just so amazing.
Yeah.
Um, let's talk about the humor and the comedy in this movie, because
Okay.
I I think this is a surprising miss for James Gunn. I think he handles tone much better in the Guardians of the Galaxy movies and even the Suicide Squad, because not all of his humor and comedy is like worked across the board in all of his projects, but I I did think a lot of the jokes did not land in this movie and they felt out of place in a Superman movie. And the bigger problem for me is I don't think this movie quiets down half as much as it should, because James Gunn's usually really good about that, having downtime and having quiet character moments like unfettered by comedy, like where like a joke isn't made at a character's expense, or they play a moment like dead straight when things were funny before. Like the perfect example of that for me is when Rocket and Drax and everybody are getting drunk in the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie, and you have that moment with Gamora and him, which is like kind of like sincere, but it's like cut off by Gamora like holding him at knife point because he's trying to seduce her. It's really funny. And then after that, then all of a sudden Drax and Rocket start fighting, and then you get like Rocket breaking down and say like, I didn't ask to be made, and like, and Peter's like, you're drunk, and that scene is played straight as it should be, and it's like it's informed by the characters being drunk, but I'm like, James Gunn is really good at tone usually. That's why people think his movies are funny and also really heartfelt. But in this movie, there are so many jokes, so much humor, and such a like bold way they shoot things that like I don't know. Call some of it like leaning into the comic book isms, but I wish that he had toned it way back with the jokes in this one.
I really didn't feel that at all. I mean, do you have an example in mind? Because I genuinely just don't know what you might be talking
The
about.
the Justice Gang, when they go and they like the whole, for one, the I don't know about you, I was absolutely stunned. They just kept saying the Justice Gang. It's like, that's not its name. The Justice Gang. I'm like, we're the name's not coming. I'm like, come on, dude.
Yeah, I thought it
Someone
was kind of
say
fun.
like, we have a league, and it's like, say that again. And they didn't do it though. I was like, wow, that's interesting that you like. So it's not the Justice League at the end of maybe they'll call it the Justice League later. I'm like, okay. Um, but all like I said, the hair, it's like that haircut should be against your O's or whatever. Like
Yeah.
Lois pulls pettiness when they like are not agreeing to help. It's like she just, and then they just make a joke of it, and he's like, "What's wrong with my haircut?" It's like, "Good job, James. That was really funny." And he's usually better with character too, with
I
making character based jokes that inform them
I mean, I
more. But
don't know
it's like
what the problem with that hair joke is, though. Like, yeah, she's
it's
pissed
not
that they're not
funny.
helping. Well, it's okay, you might not find it funny, but like, what's wrong with it? Like, yeah,
I
like she's
takes
pissed
away
that
from
none of
a
them are
serious
helping, and she
it
just
takes
says
away
something
from a
petty.
serious situation. Her walking away would have been more dramatic. It would have been more like, fuck you people, like I'll do it on my own. And again, Mr. Terrific going along with it, and even saying like, I just want to piss off Green Lantern. I'm like, okay, but I it's the fact that she's on her way out and that she's like, hey, you got a bad haircut, and it's just like three slow claps. It's like, what? that that's what she pulls, rather than something even like, you call yourselves heroes or something like that, like something along the lines of like bringing them down after that, after they treat the situation like a joke. It's just low hanging fruit again for James Gunn. It's weird for him to go with jokes like that.
I mean, sure, this, I agree that like say like call yourselves heroes or whatever would have been like a better moment. I don't think it's like it's bad. I just don't take any issue
Oh.
with it.
Well,
It didn't take me out. I was like, yeah, like I don't know, like yeah, he has a weird haircut and she's pissed, so she's just gonna say something petty because she expects them to help someone who's their friend Superman, but they're not willing to.
yeah. Well, if you want another example that I've been thinking about, this is another topic. What did you think about the depiction of women in this movie?
I thought Eve was a little weird. But other than that, not
I thought a
too
lot of
much.
the women were really weird, and a particular plot point was really weird. Weird considering James Gunn is really dignified with how he depicts female characters, and they're often the standouts. Like Nebula is a genuine standout of the Guardians movies, even though she had a relatively minor role at the beginning. Jimmy Olsen, he only has one scene with Clark. Clark is basically not in the movie. He's like barely a character. Like usually Superman's just in costume, just doing Superman stuff because he barely has time to breathe in this movie. But I'm like, Jimmy Olsen is supposed to be Clark's best friend. And it's like they don't have any scenes. I'm like, what is Jimmy doing the entire movie? He's a chick magnet. Everyone thinks he's hot, and you're supposed to laugh because every girl in the movie is swooning over him and is dressed in all these elaborate, colorful suits and like taking selfies of themselves all the time. And it's like,
I
James,
mean,
what
that
are you
was just
doing?
one woman. That was
Like,
Eve.
well, no, all of Lex's exes, including the ones that are in prison. That's the other thing. He has like a fucking
Well,
collection
he has
of
like
his ex
one other
girlfriends that he's
ex
like
in the
trapped in
prison.
his.
He has one other ex in the prison, and she's like,
I
well,
think that
wearing a
I thought they mentioned.
no.
I
Like,
thought they mentioned a couple.
well, he says like, oh, and I hate a vindictive exes, but no, he just mentions the like that
Yeah,
one who was like, I forgot what she was doing. That he put her
she's
in
in like
prison.
the separate cell, like wearing
Yeah,
pink or
yeah,
whatever. But
she's.
I
It's like just the type I guess he goes after. It's just women like that.
yeah, it felt like a weird Flanderization. I was like, why? Like I said, because he doesn't usually do that kind of a thing. He doesn't stereotype. Even that one woman at the Daily Planet has like a really revealing outfit that she's wearing, and she
Who?
is barely given any character at all. And
I
she had like an
haven't.
orange shirt or something like that.
Oh,
Do you
you
remember
mean
her?
Cat Grant? Like her entire character is
Yeah,
sexualizing herself. She is a character from the
yeah.
comic. Her character is sexualizing herself. Like that's part of her character in the comics. No, that's just like being a good adaptation of Cat Grant. I'm not gonna say that's like an issue with like James Gunn depicting women. And like obviously she hasn't gotten like the most characterization in this universe yet. She's just a background
Well,
character, but she is an actual character in the DC comics, and she is sexualized like that. In the
if
sense of like
that's
she,
part of
she
it,
does it
then
herself. Yeah, no, it's not a
okay.
thing of like James Gunn just doing it for the sake of it. There's a reason why.
Well, well, I don't want to like slap the blanket and act like all of them are like Eve or whatever her name was. Like Lois is very well handled in this, and you also have the engineer as like a villain. And there's other like women who work in like Lex's control room or something like that. It felt like a weird stereotype to just make a bunch of airhead like characters who are exes of either Jimmy or of him, and to make it so that Jimmy is just defined by just women swooning over him. And that's it. It's like I they didn't give him anything else to do other than to like go back to her and get those pictures, which by the way, I was literally thinking that when they were at the Fortress of Solitude. She's like, "Hey, I'm gonna snap a selfie." I'm like, that shit, he shouldn't be letting her do that. Like they're in LexCorp's building in the opening, and they have like this clone that is like uh, they're working by remote control, and she's like taking selfies. It's like, why are you letting this play out? But it's like, whatever. I wish the movie didn't delve as much into that, make jokes of characters like Jimmy Olsen and, flanderize other characters and just kind of it makes characters like Jimmy feel like wasted potential when you could have done more with him as a character. You could have had a moment where he confides in Clark or even Lois, but we don't really get anything like that because all of the scenes with him are used for the sake of comedy. And we'll just have to see if they do anything with him moving forward, basically.
Yeah, I mean, I agree in terms of like I wanted more of James Olsen, but I don't really have like an issue with, I guess, how he was handled, like per se. I thought it was fine.
Doesn't have that big of a role at any
Yeah,
rate. Same with Perry White. There's a lot of characters. I mean, so I I like I was mentioning that James Gunn's usually really good at slowing things down. I thought
hmm
this movie was moving really, really fast, and that it was like they it almost felt like there wasn't time to slow down. There was only a couple of like precious moments. Like the big one was when they go back to like the Kent Ranch and like
yeah,
the scene with Pa Kent, the interview scene that was a really good slowdown.
yeah.
You got a Tad in prison with the kryptonite thing.
I think it's
The
just a thing of like, for a lot of the movie, Superman is not that active of a character, so we see a lot of like Lois, especially like doing stuff.
Yeah, I, he's. It's funny how that works. That he like is like doing all these incredible things and like displaying strength and all that, but he's relatively passive in his
Yeah,
own movie. Like other characters feel like they're driving the plot more
yeah.
than he's driving the plot. So yeah,
Which is like I don't see it say that as like an issue with the movie, but in just of like I don't think we get that many scenes with him slowing down because he's always wanting to get back to the action so he can help people instead of like him himself slowing down.
yeah.
He doesn't allow himself to slow down, which I think is like just the movie portraying that part of his character via not never slowing down, the movie itself. Which is why I think
But
it's fine.
it would be interesting. I mean, there's plenty of characters that are like that, that like do thrill riding for the sake of like avoiding their responsibilities or like so they don't have to think about their trauma kind of a thing. But
Yeah.
what I think is a little unfortunate in this movie is that they do give Clark elements that could be interesting as a character. The big one being the reveal of the message with his parents.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my God, and then like everyone starts to hate him, and the monkeys from the pocket dimension like start quote tweeting him on Twitter. That was an interesting choice, James.
For
And
me,
then
that made
the
sense
other
as
one was
well. Of
the
just being like, "Oh, we're gonna," you're comparing them
it
to
could have
like
been anything.
Russian bots, aren't you? Yeah.
It could have literally been bots or people in a room. Why
Oh,
was it
but I thought it was just
monkeys?
like so much fun,
Why
so much
would he
funnier to
fucking
be the
do
fucking
that?
monkeys. I was like, yes, that is like the most Lex
I
Luthor thing ever. I
I
was like, yes, two monkeys.
cringed at that shit.
Aw, come on.
It was so off and strange. Like I said, it tied into the whole like flowery. There are certain times of this movie that I think they hit perfect comic book stride. I mean, hell, the costume design has always been on point in James Gunn's superhero movies, but I think other elements felt like they didn't quite hit as hard. But the message of his parents is one of them, and the other big one is the 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 conflict between the two countries, like which Lois directly confronts him on. And that's why those like two felt like they were the most heartfelt moments of the movie was the ranch and the interview, which I really liked the interview. Like
Yeah.
I wasn't as big a fan of some of the like more comedic lines that they threw in there, but that did feel like addressing like the complexities of the things that Superman does in the movie. But it, they they present a couple of ideas that are interesting for Superman to grapple with. I just find it unfortunate that for most of this movie, he's either in prison or just so busy that there's not really time to reflect. He just kind
Yeah.
of is always moving forward and forward and forward. And it's like, ugh.
Yeah. Well, it's just part of his character. I mean, when they get him out of the pocket dimension, right? The pocket universe. And he's like, "Oh, there's more people trapped in there. I gotta go get them." And everyone's like, "No, dude, you're almost dying. You need to rest." It's like that is just his character. He's always trying to help people at his own expense. Like when they say like, "Oh, you just lost to fucking Ultraman. You're full strength. Now you're 83%. Like you're not gonna make it." And he just goes back anyway because he needs to help
Yeah.
people. I just think it's like them showing that part of his character, I guess. Which is why
Yeah.
I think it's fine. And the rare moments where it slows down, I really like as well. Like I really like the scene with Pa Kent. That he had like arguably my
That
favorite line in
was
the movie. I was talking to a friend about this. Um, but sorry, what was the line? Yeah, what you wanted the message to be says a hell of a lot about you. It was like, oh yes, that is Superman
yeah.
right there. He wanted it to be a positive message because he is a good person because he's just, you know, he's Superman instead of like him. Like with the way that he deals with the message for his parents not knowing the second half. He was like, oh, I thought I knew. I love that moment. Just being like that says a lot about you, and it was like that's the perfect Pa Kent moment you could have in this movie.
Incredible like performance from that guy as well with that line when he just says like I couldn't be more proud of you. I'm like,
Yeah,
God, man, you illustrate that pride that a father has in his
yeah,
son like so well. And also really cool. I remember they revealed it from the trailers, but it's like Podkins just alive.
Yep.
I'm like, there's not really a written rule. Like Bruce Wayne's parents always have to die, and Uncle Ben like almost always dies. But I'm like, there's nothing saying that like Superman isn't really defined by tragedy. You
Yeah.
know, he like the real point of Mom and Pop Ken is that like they were his parents and they raised him well, and like that Superman. Lots of stories have delved into that, like Red Sun and the like have delved into like Superman is the way he is because of his parents and because of where he grew up. And you know, it's you're defined by who you're with and where you come from rather than like something that defines you. Which again, the message, it's not like he's a Kryptonian. It's not like he's tied to what his birth parents wanted
Yeah.
for him. So yeah.
I did think it was fucking hilarious. As like I knew that the second half of the message was gonna be something bad, but I thought it was so funny when it was just like, "Yes, we want you to rule Earth and
Yeah,
be like the king of everything."
making
Uh,
babies. I
it's
remember saying that was my guess is that it would probably be like a population thing. Like I
yeah,
figured it would be. In fact, it low
me
key
too. Yeah,
makes sense. It's like save our species, you know,
yeah.
like they're like
Carry on our
viable, and
species.
it's
Yeah,
like, but like the fact that it's literally like enslaved them, it's like Jesus
yeah.
Christ.
Be their king. It was like, oh, that's
Yeah,
so funny.
like
But I think what like I thought that was like comical because of how like I don't know how much of like a 180 from the first half of the message it was. But I really like what it does for Superman's character, and I really like that scene with Pac-Man, so all's forgiven.
yeah. By the way, I actually haven't looked this up. That was Bradley Cooper,
It
right? As
was.
Jor-El?
It was. I
Yeah.
recognized him immediately.
Who who is his mom? I didn't quite recognize her.
Oh, I'm not sure actually. Um,
I'm not.
let's see if I
It
can.
could be. And now that I'm thinking of it, is it James Gunn's girlfriend? I think it might be.
Oh, I don't think it was her. I
Was she in the movie? She usually cameos in these movies. Maybe. Well,
She's an actual character in this universe, right? Because of Peacemaker.
but
So I doubt.
my entire theater cracked up at that. Like
John
it was a
Cena.
pretty respectful audience. The cameo when he's on TV, it's like,
Yeah.
what do you think, Chris? Like Peacemaker's just
Yeah.
in full costume. That was so funny,
It
really funny
was
cameo.
good cameo.
Um,
Yeah. Um, trying to find it. Jor-El.
it might be
Eh,
like semi hidden at this point
Yeah,
because the
I
movie's
think
just
it's
come out.
Angela Serafian. Is that it? Yeah, Angela
I'm not
Serafian.
sure I recognize her.
Yeah, she has not been in many things I recognize. I don't think I've seen her in anything before. Yeah.
Interesting. It was. I was thinking about that, by the way, with Jarell as a character. It's not like 100% necessary, but it is a little weird that his parents are just kind of dicks, and that message is just like it was all fake, and it like Jarell's voice, like Marlon Brando played him in the originals, and he was in like the second movie as well, and obviously Russell Crowe, like they do a similar thing with him instead of Man of Steel, where he's like his consciousness or whatever was uploaded so he can still talk to him afterwards. I'm like, they don't
Yeah.
really do that. It could have been interesting had he like talked to Pa Kent, but he also talked to Jarell after the fact.
Yeah.
Because I mean, they got Bradley Cooper, but like they didn't really do that. And it's like, I'm like, it's fine.
I think it's just they didn't want to go in that direction. I think they just did not want to make like Jor-El to be like a character and more just a vehicle for the plot.
Yeah,
I don't think they're
it's
gonna
fine the
like
way they did it.
yeah, I don't think they're gonna like want to explore Krypton all that much. Maybe in Supergirl, I don't know.
Well, I mean, this is the whole thing that this movie does. It's like a lot of movies nowadays. It's aggressively against the origin story. I'm like,
Yeah,
we're not doing an origin. We're not going to show Krypton exploding. We're not going to show Bruce Wayne's parents dying.
yeah.
No, we're just starting. It's just starting the way it's
But
starting. It's like,
honestly, it's just like we didn't need it anyway. I'm glad we were dropped in
yeah,
the middle. I'm tired of origin stories. um,
I'm glad as well. My thing though with this movie is like the Batman. I think is a better example of like no origin story and
oh
just
yeah,
having because that's like it's year two. That's the idea. It's like
yeah,
year two Batman, like long Halloween Batman. That's where you're at. In this movie, it's kind of the same where it's like 3 years, but it's like, but we also have to set up the Justice Gang and all this other stuff. And it's like, it's it. this doesn't really feel like Iron Man in the sense that it's a movie about one character that starts it off. I mean, the title Superman, you know,
Yeah.
it does feel a little weighed down like BVS does, where it's trying
Oh,
to
it does feel like a
establish the
universe movie. Yeah,
universe.
it feels like a
Yeah.
universe movie for sure, rather than just a Superman movie. But I'm kind of okay with that. I don't know. It's just like, yeah, we're starting a new universe, and to establish this universe and that there are other heroes already established, they're gonna show up in this movie, and Superman's already gonna be like a character and everything. It's like, yeah, it's fine. I'm
Well,
completely fine with it.
Well, I don't know if I've mentioned this on stream, but I'm like, I love my proposal for rebooting the MCU is to do something similar to this movie, where it's like just have everyone be established rather
Yeah,
than introducing everybody, because that's what the MCU is struggling with. They like introducing the Thunderbolts, like introducing Ironheart, and it's like every new characters just get invented rather than they've been a part of the world.
yeah,
And you know, it's hard in a superhero story because you know things affect things, but it's like I
yeah,
think it's just better when there's already that history laid out, and this movie
yeah.
has some of that because
Yeah.
they
Well, my
have
issue with
characters.
the MCU is that Phase 1 established every new character, and they had the history with Captain America and everything all laid out. And it was all planned, and they knew what they wanted to do. But then after that, they realized how big the universe was and how many characters they could adapt it, that they forgot that, like, maybe we don't need to adapt all of them. And so that they ended up like writing themselves into corners to try and fix that. So,
Yeah, I it's it's certainly better at handling that kind of a thing than BVS was,
oh yeah.
and I do think that this is still Superman's story, but it is muddied by a lot of different character additions and trying to set up a lot of different things. So, yeah. What did you think is kind of random, but what did you think of Metamorpho?
I
I
liked him
it,
quite a lot, actually.
I thought he was pretty generic, honestly. Most so all right, so the pocket dimension. For one, I love that they just Lex Luthor just casually mentions that he like made something like similar to the Big Bang. He says he almost
Yeah.
made like a small Big Bang or something. I
Yeah,
was
no,
like,
he says
did
I replicated the Big Bang. Yeah.
yeah, did you? I'm like, you replicated the Big Bang
Yeah,
and
I love that. I don't know if it's just like I don't
what?
know if it's just like maybe I don't know. My brain is like, yeah, if you want to do like this comics, like feel like the comics and have like Lex Luthor be this galaxy level brain, just like, yeah, I recreated the Big Bang. I was on board. I was like, yes. I was just nodding like, uh-huh. He did that. I did not
Yeah.
blink for a second, but I understand it can be off-putting. But it's just like it just feels like comics, man. It just feels warm watching that shit. It's like I replicated the Big Bang. I'm like, yes, you did. Go on, King.
Yeah. Lots of leading into those kinds of things in this
Yeah.
movie, which I like. And I like the whole prison. I like the setup for that. It's the escape and how some of this is handled. So okay, so Metamorpho, they have him in the same cell with him, and then they have like his baby in a cell across, and it's one of those things where the only reason they did that was so that they could like show him. I think they literally have him like wave his hand. He's like,
Yeah.
"Hey, I got your kid." It's just like, okay, you'd think you'd want them on like a video, maybe not even in that like same area, so that they wouldn't know where to go, and then also, he, like, lets him talk to him. I guess he, like, told him, "Don't say anything," but I'm like, couldn't you have had him in, like, a different cell, or couldn't you have,
Well, you can't really if
like,
you need
gagged
him
him
to
or,
be
like,
there
fucking
because of kryptonite.
well, yeah, of course, that's the reason they need him in the first place, but the way they like, it barely takes any convincing. He literally just kills that one guy, which, like, I love that moment, by the way. That was a pretty surprising
Yeah, he
it's not
killed him in
often
the
you get that,
second
like, the
try.
villain
Yeah.
yeah, the villain just shooting guy in the head, and like all the guy did was help Superman once. It's like Jesus Christ, but they, like he sees him kill him. He's like, he killed that man. He's like, okay, I'll help you. It's like, it's like
Well, I
okay.
think he
I thought
wanted
your
to help
son
him.
being in the cell across like was probably enough
Yeah. Well,
before that fucking happened. But okay,
he wanted to help him from the start. He was just like trying to convince himself not to because it was like they're gonna kill my boy. Um but I don't know. I thought it was like fine. It was just like a character was like, I want to help you, but I'm worried they're gonna hurt my son, and then like at the end of the
Well,
scene realizing and like believing in Superman, believing he can do what he says he can do. Like, I will keep your son safe. It's like, you promised that. It's like, I promise, and then he does that. I don't know. I thought it was a nice moment of just like hope, but I do get that they probably should have done like a video thing or whatever.
well, not even that, but I'm like more of that would have helped, because there's that one time when he's like, "Stop talking," and like puts it like right to his
Yeah,
face, and then
I
after
like that.
that is pretty much that scene. Like even like 2 or 3, like almost like Narkina's 5 style from like Andor, where it's like what they do
How
with
many
Kino in
guards
that
on the?
story, where
How many guards on
yeah,
each
like
floor? Yeah, I think.
continuous prodding that whittles him away. Kind of funny to say since he's like made a rock, but like you know what I'm talking about, like just
Yeah.
like chipping away at him, and then eventually he agrees. Rather than it would have felt like maybe a little less like
Yeah,
abrasive.
maybe if we had a little more time to spend with that, I agree. I think it's fine the way it is, but I think I agree that it would have been better if they done that like a few more times of him just like not letting him talk.
Well,
Though maybe it could have been a little repetitive. I don't know.
the, I'm I am proposing like somehow trim down the like Lex's plan, make Lex the unambiguous like main villain to the story, because the stuff with like the international conflict like makes things a little muddier in the third act. And I'm like, if you got rid of the Justice Gang, don't you think you could have had more downtime, or even make the movie longer? I don't like it's only like what, 210? It's like a little over 2 hours, or
I
how long
honestly,
is it?
I'm not sure, but I
I
honestly didn't feel the time passing at all. I could have gone for like another like 20 minutes of this movie easily, honestly. Like if it
well
needed to do more
honestly, like
stuff, I was down for it.
I'm obviously a lot more critical of this movie than you are, but
Yeah,
I was never checking my watch. This is a very
yeah,
it, I don't know if I necessarily say it's well paced, but it doesn't let up. It's not boring at
yeah,
all. So yeah, 210 is what I'm getting online. So
yeah. I don't know. It
yeah.
could have been longer. I think it would have worked if it was for sure.
Mm. What are some of your like criticisms of the movie? You implied that you did not think it was perfect. Like
Yeah.
what stuff stuck out more to you?
Well, the thing is, right? I didn't think it was like there anything like particularly wrong. There was just a few things where I'm like where I was watching the movie where I was like, like a few lines of dialogue, a few of the stuff with like the Justice Gang, um, that I think could have been a little bit better. I I mean I've mentioned it a few times with your criticisms and I agreed with some of them. But like I think for example that Hawkgirl especially was a little disappointing. I expected her to be more of a character,
Yeah.
you know?
I mean, genuinely, because I'm like, she was doing like weird screeches in the third act, and I'm like, is this been a thing? But I'm like, she keeps like being combative about the name of the Justice Gang, and she kills the dictator at the end. But I'm like, there's like no scene with her, She's just, and like I was saying with Nebula, like Nebula wasn't in that much of the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie. She was like pretty side charactery. It
Yeah,
wasn't
she
until the
was
second movie
just
that they really
the henchman
dropped
for
her.
Ronan, yeah. In the second
They
movie she
still
becomes
gave
a
her
character.
yeah, they still gave her material though. They still like laid out a history. I'm like, you could have done something like that with Hawkgirl, like given her a little something, maybe even just one scene between just her and Green Lantern or something like that. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. I didn't have much to complain about, but I was just like, I wasn't blown away. I was just like, it just felt like a very warm, cozy film, but it didn't feel like a movie that was
Yeah,
like it wasn't Guardians 2 or 3, like those movies, they blew me away. But this
yeah.
movie is just
Well,
like it's very fun. It is heartwarming. I'll probably rewatch it all the time, but it wasn't like the thing that like took me back like wow. Like I probably think The Suicide Squad is better than this movie, I think.
Yeah, that I mean that was one of the things when I like posted that I was watching it in an early screening. Someone like asked me that like do you think it's better or worse than the Suicide Squad? And I'm like, that's a really good question. I'm like, I my gut reaction though was that I thought the Suicide Squad was better. And
Yeah,
I'm like, if you just want
I
like the
like.
simple reason, like even just Peacemaker's arc in that movie and the confrontation with Bloodsport, I'm like, I other than maybe the scene with Pa Kent, I don't think there was anything that was quite
Yeah.
that well put together in this movie that hit quite as hard.
Oh
And I
yeah.
do think the quiet moments are more frequent and they hit harder when they happen.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%.
Whereas yeah, this movie isn't quite as good with tone and isn't quite as good with what it uses its runtime with. It's a very fast, action heavy movie, but like you said, and I agree with you, it's a really optimistic, hopeful movie that is comfort. Like it's a great comfort food movie that I could imagine watching this movie and having a good time with it. And I do want to say that it will I do think it like will set up a good universe. I don't even know what's next like for the DCU as it were. I don't know if they've like released like one of those screenshots with like
They
6 movies that's like
did.
lined up, but
Let me see DCU films.
I is it are they going to do like an old gods like story cuz in the opening text they were saying that like 3 centuries ago or whatever
Mm,
metahumans were there. So like they're definitely trying to pull like some sort of an Eternals thing of like, they like there were superheroes like hundreds or thousands of years ago
yeah,
before super
but at least establishing it beforehand.
yeah,
Yeah, Supergirl seems to be the next one in June of
yeah.
2026, and then Clayface
Which
in September.
which which by the way, I did not realize that she was going to be in this movie and
I
Billy
assumed.
Alcock I was so excited for that. Like I remember when she got cast, like, oh, she was so great as Rhaenyra. I'm like, good for her. Good for you that you're gonna play Supergirl. Funny her showing up. And I do like as well that Crypto is hers. It's kind of funny that like
Yeah,
it's almost like Clark is just babysitting the dog. It's just like the dog's just annoying him, and he's
yeah,
like, it's not his. They like say it's like
yeah.
unruly. It's
Yeah, they say
it's
it a few times, and I was
it's
like, when
funny.
she shows up at the end, I was like, oh, obviously it's hers, but it didn't clock it until the end. So I was like, yeah, that's a nice moment. And I like Superman just caring about a fucking super dog. It's just like,
Yeah.
yes, I love that, James Gunn. Thank you.
I remember when they released that clip of him like flipping the desk. He said, "Where's the dog?" It's like it's really funny. Yeah, and yeah, he like turns himself in for the sake of that. Like I found that a bit of a weird gamble, but I'm like, yeah, he straight up wanted to find crypto. That's why he turned himself in. So it's like, yeah, uh, yeah. I don't know. I think I've talked through most of like my big bullet points with this one. I really did not hate this movie as much as I'm harping on a lot of elements. I think people are riding the hype train, and I I think this is a messy movie for this to be their first like DC movie to start the DCU, as it were. And I feel like maybe it would have been better served had it just been Superman's story. Had it been like the Batman, where it's like not many other characters, not much else to weigh the story down. It's mainly his story and mainly what he does that defines everything. But the additional characters and the relatively short run time, it makes it so that they lean into the action a lot. Whereas like you could have had more character moments. You could have had more Clark Kent rather than just Superman. Like I said, Clark Kent is like he doesn't have much to do. He's not like he doesn't have like the glasses and like the awkwardness for most of the movie. Like most of what you see of Clark Kent, it's in the trailers. It's like you're not missing much else if you haven't seen those.
Yeah, I do wish we'd seen more of that. That was one of the things that disappointed me a little. I I I don't know. I did really like Mr. Terrific though. I thought he was good.
Yes. And that one fight scene, that might have been my favorite fight scene of the movie where he just puts the shield around Lois and he just
Yeah, they
knocks
did it on
everyone
the
around
Oneer
using his
as
yeah.
well. Cause I love
Yeah.
that.
That was
Oh,
great. He was really funny too. Like I really good example. Like because I did think Hawkgirl and Green Lantern kind of blended into like, similar
Yeah,
characters and like similar jokes, but I'm like, I love his deadpan delivery and his reactions to things, and just there was a unique comedy to Mr. Terrific
yeah,
in that. And it cool to have a character that's just like straight up an inventor, like straight up his inventions. It reminds me of like Kang in the comics, where it's like he's not super powerful. It's like all of his superpowers, it's just technology. He's just
yeah,
futuristic and he's got technology that's that good. So yeah.
yeah. It was fun. I really liked Mrs. Terrific, so I'm excited to see more of him in the I was gonna say the MCU, the DCU.
DCU. We're gonna DCEU. I always found that hilarious. By the way, that like the DC extended universe, like you could have just cut out the middleman,
Well, I
Whatever.
like that they didn't, because now we have the proper DCU, so it's fine.
Yeah. We'll have to see where that goes, and who knows? Maybe the MCU will reboot if Doomsday fails. Like we'll see how they're limping
Yeah,
along. But
Secret Wars and Doomsday. That those two films are gonna be something. I'm sure we'll have plenty to talk about with that.
yeah. You know a way of putting it, honestly?
Mm.
If the Batman were the first in the DCU, I would be way more optimistic than this movie. Like this didn't feel like quite as much of a like, oh, like the MCU's in trouble. Like it is kind of a little more on the like standard superhero side of the equation of like a it didn't wow me as much as like certain other projects have. So I'm curious what they'll do moving forward, like Supergirl and definitely Clayface, especially with Mike
Mike
Flanagan's
Flanagan writing
involvement.
it.
That
Yes.
fingers crossed. Yeah.
Oh, I am so excited for that movie. I it is very unfortunate that Mike Flanagan is not directing it, but I'll take it anyway.
Mhm.
And I don't know if you know, but Clayface was actually in Creature Commandos. And he
Oh,
died.
really?
And he died.
I
Yes.
bet I don't know much about Creature Commandos at all. Is that like semi-Suicide Squad kind of a
It is
thing, or
basically
like is that?
Suicide Squad, but with monsters instead of like just like regular people. Like instead of being Bloodsport, there's like Frankenstein. So yeah,
Hmm. Did James Gunn like write all
he
of
wrote
that,
it.
or?
Yep, he wrote all of it.
Huh.
It's pretty good. It's
I
not. It's
still,
not great. It has quite a few issues, but it has the heart
I
of
still
like
need,
Suicide Squad, and I really like it.
I still need to see that, and I still need to see Peacemaker because I always
Peacemaker.
loved him. He
Yeah.
was my favorite part of the Suicide Squad. So, and I love John Cena in that role. So, yeah.
Yeah, I love Peacemaker too. I'm afraid I love everything I've seen from James Gunn. It's impressive. One of my favorite filmmakers working nowadays was him and Mike Flanagan.
Good. Good luck with the future of the or the DCU. So and I do find it hilarious too. There was that moment when it seemed like he was fired from Guardians 3, and I'm like, he turns around, he directs it anyway, and makes the competition for
DCU.
DC. It's like,
Yeah.
talk about getting his just desserts. And he made the Suicide Squad in the first place
Yeah.
because he had been fired. So man's riding on top of the world.
Yeah. He got very lucky. The people try to cancel him, and he just got like the best job he could have gotten afterwards. I mean, fair play. Um. All right. Well, is that it? I think we've talked plentifully about this movie.
Yeah, I think we've gone into most of the things that stood out to me. So yeah,
Yeah. Um.
I
Would you recommend? Is always the question.
yes, absolutely. I it's funny because I watched this with my brother, and his initial reaction is I don't think I'd see it again in theaters. And I remember being like, yeah, kind of. I don't know if I'd rewatch it in theaters, but I would definitely. I saw it in IMAX. I'm like, you got to watch this on the big screen. It's worth it. It's definitely worth the theater admission. And for all my flaws, all my bitching in this episode, like really optimistic movie with a really good heart and like and a great casting for Superman that gets a lot right. Gets the stuff that matters right. So, I would recommend it for sure.
Yeah. Me too. I recommend it even more than you because I really liked it.
Yeah.
Yeah, had very few issues with it myself. Just thought it could be tighter in some ways, and honestly, you know, a little slower. I would have appreciated it. I would have appreciated. I
Yeah.
agree with the criticism you made, but a very good movie.
It-
Then I mean, I cried 3 times. It's you know,
Which scenes like it's got to be Pa Kent. Like what were
Pocket
the other
was the
scenes that
first
really
time
got
I
you?
cried. Yeah. Uh, the At that point I was already like super emotional, so I was like anything was gonna get me crying. So you know, when the woman like her car wasn't starting and the building was gonna fall on her, I was
Oh,
like
that
Superman's gonna
moment's
show
peak.
up, and the moment he shows up, I just
Smoke,
like
yeah.
tears, like yes, my Superman. And I cried at the end, obviously, because like that end, like, do you want to see the video of your parents? He finds it comforting, and it's the video of Pai Ma Kent.
Yeah.
Like, oh my god, my
Home movies.
heart.
Like, oh, it's
That
amazing.
was so adorable. I love that so much. Like, yes, Superman. This is my Superman. That moment.
Cut cutting through the cloth of the character. It's the whole thing. It's like, yeah, his real parents are the ones from Krypton, but I'm like, the
Yeah,
people that were his parents are Ma and Pa Kent. It's
yeah,
just
yeah.
so cool to drive that home with that way and with the music that they use.
Yeah.
So
He finds it comforting. Oh, so good, so good, so good. Yeah. So yeah, those are the 3 moments I cried. And yeah, I really recommend it. Really like the movie. Very, very good. And yeah, we're not gonna recommend anything this episode because this is like an extra episode just because we both watched it and we want to release
yeah,
it close to
I
the release of the movie. So
there'll probably be a couple of episodes like this that are just the cultural, like
yeah,
everyone's talking about it, like the blockbuster like movie of the year. So
yeah,
it's like this is like almost required reading for us to cover. So yeah,
yeah,
I may as well do that.
yeah. All right, we'll catch you soon, folks. Depending on this when this goes up, I think the next episode will be about K-pop Demon Hunters. So check that out if that's still topical whatsoever. I don't know how how long that movie's gonna be talked about considering the new movie has come out. But yeah. All right. We'll catch you soon, folks. Bye bye.
Bye bye.